A month ago, Oscar Piastri still looked like a genuine threat in the Formula One title fight. He was leading the standings, showing speed and composure, the hallmark of a driver who knows when to attack and when to wait. But in Mexico, something changed. He didn't lose pace. He lost grip in qualifying. From position 7 on the grid, he had to battle in the midfield, while Norris started from pole and immediately set the rhythm. Andrea Stella said Piastri should be very proud of his performance. He called Oscar's race very solid at the Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez, even though the team strategy didn't fully favour him due to his starting position. But behind the praise was a quiet admission. Norris has now become McLaren's focal point. He started from pole, led calmly from the first lap to the checkered flag, and solidified himself as the driver McLaren must protect in the title fight. In that race, Norris was flawless, from start to pit stop. Piastri, on the other hand, was left in a less-than-ideal scenario, trapped in traffic early with no clean air and forced to settle for a recovery drive to P8. Stella said, "We ran 2 different strategies to optimise the team's potential." It sounded neutral, but in the paddock, everyone knew what it meant. One car was set up to win, the other to hold ground. And this time, the starting position made all the difference. If you like honest analysis without the drama, hit subscribe, because McLaren's story after Mexico isn't about who's faster, but who's more trusted. From the start of the season, McLaren built a narrative of equality, 2 young drivers with massive potential, pushing each other to the limit. But equality in F1 rarely lasts long. Once the title fight becomes real, that balance starts to shake. And in Mexico, that vibration could be felt in every small decision. Pit stop order, strategy timing, even the tone of voice from the pit wall. Lando Norris is now the driver around whom the entire operation revolves. He's not only leading McLaren's internal standings after Mexico, 357 points to Piastri's 356, but also becoming the face of the team's modern resurgence. In recent races, the team has grown more sensitive to setups that suit Norris's style, more aggressive under braking, sharper through mid-corners. But this isn't about new upgrades. McLaren has long frozen development for 2025. What's changed is the data. Norris has been more consistent in extracting pace from the current package, while Piastri is still searching for the sweet spot on low-grip tracks like Mexico. Piastri knows it. He doesn't complain on camera, but his silence doesn't mean he doesn't feel it. After the Mexican Grand Prix, he simply said, "I'm focusing on my own side." Cold, measured, unsmiling, like a driver who knows exactly what's happening, but chooses to wait. A few days earlier, former driver and commentator Johnny Herbert gave a sharp assessment. Oscar needs to be firmer in asserting himself within the team. Right now, Lando has the team's full energy. It wasn't an attack, it was a warning. Herbert knows that once one side of the garage loses momentum, performance can collapse even when the car is just as quick. Stella has repeatedly denied any special treatment. "Our drivers are equal," he said. "Sometimes results just differ because of grid position or race conditions." But that logic starts to crack when seen through a wider lens. In the last 4 races, Norris has often benefited from better timing calls, but only because he starts ahead more often. When Piastri needs clean air, he's stuck in traffic. When Norris needs tactical space, the team adjusts, because he's the one leading the race. Piastri remains calm. He said, "All I can do is focus on my side and make sure we maximise the next one." Again, cold, measured, unsmiling, like a driver who knows what's happening but chooses to wait. Meanwhile, Norris grows more confident. In his post-race interview, he said, "We've shown we can still fight Red Bull. It's not over yet." A simple line, but one that reveals a shift in mentality. Norris no longer speaks like a young driver, he speaks like a title contender. For Piastri, Mexico wasn't just about losing points. It was about losing psychological momentum. For most of the season, he's been known as a clean, no-drama driver. Efficient on track, effective over long races, and consistently the benchmark for Norris. But over the past 2 weekends, that pattern flipped. Not because of the car, but because of starting position and qualifying adaptation. Some observers call it a side effect of the car's current character. With a package that demands sharper braking and faster steering inputs through medium-speed corners, the setup now suits Norris better, especially on low-grip tracks like Mexico. Piastri, who relies on flow and precision, needs to adapt. Stella even said he has room to understand the car's characteristics in conditions like this. A diplomatic compliment, and at the same time, a signal that Piastri's adaptation isn't complete across every circuit. And that's the critical point. When one driver starts to mesh perfectly with the car, and the team begins to shape direction around him, the other inevitably feels further from the centre of decision-making. It's not an accusation, it's a familiar pattern in F1 history. We've seen it at Red Bull with Webber versus Vettel, at Mercedes with Rosberg versus Hamilton, and now, in a subtler modern version, at McLaren. The story gets more intriguing when Max Verstappen's name enters the frame. He's not just a rival on track, he's the mirror opposite of what McLaren is trying to build. Verstappen sits at the top thanks to Red Bull's stability. One philosophy, one leader, one clear number one. McLaren, meanwhile, is still trying to balance two directions in one boat. In Mexico, Verstappen was solid, recovering from P5 to finish third, overtaking Hamilton and Behrman, and nearly catching Leclerc before the VSC. Not spectacular, but efficient. And that underlined the gap between Red Bull's stability and McLaren's subtle tension, even if this time McLaren had the faster car. In moments like this, every decision made in Woking carries extra weight. Who gets the new component first? Who's called into the pits earlier? Who gets strategic priority? Stella said, "We make decisions based on data, not names." But F1 history teaches us, data often serves as justification for human instinct, especially when a world title is within reach. Piastri still has time. 4 races left, 4 chances to shift the narrative, but to do that, he needs more than speed. He needs a moment, something that forces the team to place its full trust back in him. He doesn't need public confrontation, but he needs proof on track that can't be ignored. Herbert said, Piastri is incredibly talented, but right now he needs to be a little more selfish. If not, the system will decide the direction without him. It sounds harsh, but it's the most accurate warning, because in a world where equality only lasts until the points start to matter, a driver who stays silent too long often fades without a sound. Yet that might also be Piastri's hidden strength. He's not emotional. He reads the room, stores his energy, and strikes when least expected. He's done it before, in Barcelona and Zandvoort. He could do it again in these final 4 rounds, if the team gives him equal space to do it. Winning a world title isn't always about having the fastest car. Sometimes it's about who the team believes can carry them across the finish line. McLaren now stands at that crossroads. They have 2 exceptional drivers, one shining bright, one quiet, but waiting. Verstappen remains the biggest external threat, but McLaren's greatest danger might come from within. As one paddock analyst put it, when a team starts splitting its focus, it's rarely the rivals who stop them. It's themselves. For now, McLaren's garage still looks harmonious. But behind the public praise and team photos, there's one unspoken truth. Every decision made after Mexico will shape next season's hierarchy. And the question now hangs in the air, like a used racing tyre rolling down the pit lane. Can McLaren really stop Verstappen's bid for a 5th straight title, while their 2 drivers quietly drift apart inside the same team?